Peace to the gods and the goddesses, man. About to do a quick little video. That's what I was going to talk about. The next generation. The next generation. You know, everything that I spoke about, I already spoke about. The next generation. Yo, man, what's up with this dude, B? Hold on for a second. The next generation. Yo, where we at? Let's pull in the signal. Let's pull in the signal now. The next generation, man. You know, the wave of these subconscious thoughts. When you look at these kids out here, the babies, you're looking at subconscious thoughts in a biological form. Because you got to know that the majority of the babies that's in this wave and waves that's coming all came through the womb by way of the ego. They all came through the womb by the way of the ego. You know what I mean? Shorty had a fat butt. She got a nice body. Yo, I like this guy. He always buy me what I want. He take me out. We go to the movies. You know what I mean? They crack the legs open for a supersized Happy Meal. Then next thing you know, they have a baby on the way, and the baby just came into existence by way of lust, the ego. So now you got to know that when you having babies, how you're vibrating overally, and especially in that moment, would dictate the type of genetic vibration that the baby will be prone to. You know what I mean? So you already got babies that's in the hospitals right now all across the world that's being born right now as I make this video, and some that has already been born, still in the hospitals, that have already been preconditioned to be a stripper, to be a drug dealer, to be a thug, to be a whore, to be a no good cousin, a no good brother. You know, they already have been preconditioned with the lust vibration, in other words. They have already been genetically prone to embrace lust because they are a lunar baby. You know what I mean? Vibrating on that egotistical frequency, man. Emotions, energy, emotions. Which energy? Your quote unquote 7 deadly sins, which is really the sensory configurations of common sense. Breaking it down, son. I already know how I do, son. Pop my collar on that one. You already know I spoke about the 7 deadly sins. They want to tell you that you got 5 senses. You got 7 senses. And the 7 senses, well, we're gonna focus on the humans. We ain't gonna be talking about the gods. The humans' common sense is associated with the quote unquote deadly sins. What they would tell you is lust, greed, jealousy, envy, hate, things like that. Because if you focus on all of those quote unquote deadly sins, which is deadly senses, sin sense, you will see that they all come by way of one of your senses. Lust. In order to lust, you first have to be able to see. So your sight vision is perverted. You know what I'm saying? Greed. In order for you to be greed, you first have to what? Taste. So your taste sense is perverted. You know what I mean? And so on and so forth. Just to give y'all an example of how the 7 deadly sins is really the sensory configuration of the beast, the human species. So when you're looking at these babies that's born, they have already been preconditioned to run a 7 sensory perverted pattern in regards to their the 7 deadly sins being corrupt, which means all of the decisions that they make will be egotistical, and you already know that they cloak the ego with emotions. When people are normally saying, yo, stop being so emotional, or why are you so emotional, or we are emotional people, all this and all that, when they really talking about emotions, that is a blanket term for the ego. That's what they cover the ego with. They cover the ego with emotions. So next time you hear somebody say emotions, just know, replace that with ego. So they will make decisions based on the ego, son. And they are actually, the parents actually trained them to be egotistical. I'm going to give you an example. They trained them to be egotistical by giving them perks when they do egotistical things. Gifts, pat on the back. Oh, you're such a funny baby, a cute little baby. You know how they do it. If you be good, I'll give you a lollipop. Now, you got to know that the good that the parents is describing to this next wave, and these waves that's already out here, has to do with them obeying. See, the parents, they all jacked up because they confuse listening and obeying. They would say things like, listen to me, listen. Why don't you listen? Why don't you ever listen? But you got to know, they not even using that word in the correct terms and conditions. What they really want the kids to do is obey. Because when you listen, you have dissected what somebody's saying something to you. You dissecting what somebody's saying to you, and you observing it. And based upon your analysis, you would make the decision whether you should comply or disregard. By making an critical analysis. They don't train or teach their offsprings to make critical analysis. What they do is train them to be egotistical, just obey. Because the parents feel some kind of way when they talking to their kids. Oh, you better obey, you better listen. So they feel that aggression. And the kids now feel some type of way inferior because they're getting all these threats, egotistical. Well, if you don't listen, I'm going to spank you, I'm going to beat you, you're going to be grounded, you're going to be able to go outside, you ain't get no lollipop, no cartoons, nothing. Just go to your room, go into bed, go in the carriage, go in the crib, go in the playpen and cry. You know, training them to be egotistical, manipulating their emotions. It's like they seasoning the ego in them when they're young. Listen to me, listen. When they should be really saying obey, obey, because that's really what they mean. Because they demand the kids to do certain things and they never fully explain why. You ever notice that when parents tell kids to do something, their response or their explanation is because I said so. What is that? That's not an explanation. This process or phase of the kids, they supposed to be learning. They supposed to be developing their critical analysis skills. But you sitting up here talking about because I say so, because I say so, you're programming them now not to be able to identify situations in reality when they get older. What? You're programming them to be a believer now. Further down the timeline, they're going to be believers. On their hands and knees praying to stones and freaking wood, and you ask them why they doing it. Because everybody doing it. Because that's what we do. That's not an explanation. That's the same, that's inclined with because I say so. When you say because everybody's doing it, that's basically saying because they say so. Programming the kids to be dummies, believers, egotistical, perverted their senses. 7 deadly sins. When you breaking something down to your offspring, never mind seeing. Let me rephrase that, because you already know seeing means comprehend. Never mind looking at it from an angle as if they are too young to understand. They are not too young to understand. Speak to them like you would speak to somebody who you want to put up on game. Don't say, well, I don't want you doing this because I say so. You got to go into details. Break it down. Well, you can't be doing this. Say they playing with the stove. And they were like, don't play with the stove. And they ask you why. You break down why. Well, you shouldn't play with the stove because it could increase the chances of you getting burned. You see, this right here is a creation that we use to prepare foods on. We heat it up at great temperatures, and when that temperature reaches a certain temperature, it has the ability to burn your skin off. You could turn the knobs, put the gas on, which will increase the potential of an explosion. We got all these electronic devices in here. And just to be on the safe side, you need to be trained on how to deal with the stove. You know, you don't got to get highly sophisticated. Just give them a little practical example. Just be practical, but get to the point. You know what I mean? Get to the point. You see them walking around, running around with a fork in their hand. Don't just snatch it out of their hand. Teach them why they shouldn't be doing it. In other words, anytime you see your offspring doing something that has the ability or the potential to cause harm, and you know that they don't understand harm coming from that angle, because if they did, then they wouldn't be doing it. You got to know that if they understand harm about certain actions that they're doing, then they wouldn't be doing those actions to begin with, because they would have pre-analyzed their footsteps and say, you know, I ain't gonna do that. But since they are in the training stages where you're supposed to be putting them up on game, you're supposed to walk them through things and teach them. Now, you shouldn't be doing this. Why? Well, this is why. Let me break it down to you. So they can understand. Not to be like, telling them, oh, because I say so, because I'm your mother, because I'm your father, and you're supposed to listen. No, they trying to be a dictator. Dictators get violated. That's why the kids violating the parents now, because they don't see them as guardians. They see them as a bunch of dictators that just basically bullied them. You got these parents that's basically bullying the kids. That's why the kids running around beating up everybody, son. Like when you hear about these bullies getting bullied, these bullies bullying people in school, they normally come from an abusive home. I ain't even gonna say normally. They all come from an abusive home. All bullies come from an abusive home. They have an abusive relationship with their mother and father. If they even have those two parties or those two energy calibrating members in the household, because that's what your parents are. They are there to calibrate the energy. You know what I mean? So when you're looking at these bullies, that's only because they came from a destructive home. So therefore, they are pushing out that destruction. Same thing with the kids when they running around, linking up with certain so-called friends, which just basically share the same habits. And that all got to do with because they all suffering from the ego, man. They were all programmed by the ego. That's why they clip off and connect with each other and do drugs together and have their own little secret society where they keep things from their parents. But little do they know that their parents programmed them to be like that. They programmed them to move away from the flock. To flock with the bums, with the damn degenerates, son. They programming them. They pre-programming them by way of the 7 deadly sins or the 7 deadly perverted senses. You're supposed to break everything down to the kids. They're sitting there watching cartoons. Tell them what the cartoons is. Tell them what the cartoons do. Tell them what the purpose of cartoons is. Don't be like, well, cartoons is here to make you laugh and giggle. Nah, that's just to program you. Look, they use colors. They use certain tones. You hear that? You hear that chime that just came in when they was talking? Yeah, that's the background music. That's how they open up your energy centers and tweak your energy like a flute, like a Pied Piper making a flute out of wood. He is fine-tuning the energy. That's what they use the cartoons for. Break it down to them. So whenever they choose to look at it, they would be analyzing. You know what I mean? See, I don't watch TV, son. I analyze TV. That's what your kids should be doing. Whenever they quote unquote watching TV, they shouldn't be watching TV. They should be analyzing the TV, son. Whatever imagery is on TV, they should be analyzing everything, son. Never mind sitting there, well, I'm going to watch this movie because I want to be entertained. I want to see some flashing lights and some sex scenes and some car scenes on some highway, some explosion here, gunfire over there. No, you're looking for a fix. You're looking for service. You know what I'm saying? You need certain fixes in certain sensories that exist within your body because they are not fully connected. Like I gave the example, when you see the people go in church, that's only because they never established a connection with God and they soulfully sick. For the carbonated beings and humans, they spiritually dead. So now they need to go get a fix. They need to get a service from the pastor. So you know when people watching TV, they need to get fixed. They need to get a fix. Their sensories is all out of whack. So now they get momentarily doses of feel me good. Sprites. You're supposed to be analyzing. But the parents, they train the kids to be demons. They're not training the kids to be gods and goddesses. They training them to be demons. Training them to be a damn demon. Giving them perks when they behave, and their description of behaving is doing what I say. What don't the parents even say? Stop asking so much questions. Why you asking so much questions? Why you talk so much? Sit down. Stop asking me so much questions. Because I say so. That's how you program your kids to be a believer. You program them to say, to go to church and accept some beast god known as Jesus Lice as their Lord and Savior. Notice that nobody in the church asks questions. Ask everybody in the church how it was for their childhood. Was their parents dictative? Did they explain everything to them? I guarantee you they will all say no. My mama used to be strict. She used to beat my behind, send me to my room, tell me don't ask no questions, just sit down and shut up. I don't care what you got to say. Do this because I say so. They say why? Because I say so. They never explain anything to anybody. Passing down the damn slave gene of obeying. When they using a word like listen. No, when you listen, that means you analyzing. When you are listening, you analyzing. When you sitting there listening to what somebody's saying, you are literally calculating and analyzing whatever it is that they saying. When you telling somebody to do something and you just expect them to do it, that is a form of command and conquer. Command and obey. You just obey what I'm saying. Who cares what you got to say about it? Who cares how you feel? I don't want to hear what you got to say. Do it. Obey. A dictatorship, man. So the parents passing that slave mentality, perverted sensory, 7 deadly sins, egotistical mainframe processing, where their brains are just probed and programmed to process the 7 deadly sins. So when the kids is growing up and they behaving now because they just quote unquote listening, well, they're just obeying. And whenever they obey, the parents give them perks. So now it trains them, say, wow, so you mean to tell me if I just listen without even asking questions, then I won't get beat? Don't that sound like somebody getting ready to hit you with a bullwhip over your back? If you don't say that Jesus your God and Savior, son? Jesus is God and Savior? Who's Jesus? Hit you with the bullwhip. Jesus is your God and Savior. Who's Jesus? Hit you with the bullwhip. Jesus is your God and Savior. Jesus is my God and Savior. Good boy, good girl. Now you feel good. The same thing that they doing to the babies, man. To these little kids out here. Don't ask me no questions. Just do what I say. That's what the slave master was doing, son. Passing down the damn 7 deadly sins. Egotistical brain. To be vibing on the ego. Why you think the kids out here is rebelling the way they are? You got to know that these kids only treat people how their parents treat them. So they got a lot of rage in them. Why? Because the rage represents a distortion. Things that are not clear. You know what I'm saying? When things are clear for you, when things are clear, then that means that your energy is stable. When these kids are in a state of rage, that's only because they have a lot of unanswered questions, and that causes a distortion in their energy calibrating, which is the task of the parents. They're supposed to be calibrating the energy of the offsprings so they could know how to balance their solar energy for the carbonated beings. Not running around here all wild looking for a momentarily fix. Now you have become addicted to energy. Energy is a damn drug to them because they don't understand how it is. And since energy could always be replenished, they will always need to seek a fix. Always. You know what I mean? So that whole listening, they're using it out. They're not even using it correctly. They're using it incorrectly, son. Incorrectly. And that's just minor examples, but you could scatter it across the globe. Look how many people are in relationships just because somebody say so. You got people that's with people that's for 4, 2, 3, 9, 10, 15, 20 years, and they don't really know these people. All they know is their habits. Oh, I know what she like. I know what he like. You know what I'm saying? I know his favorite food. You gotta know the way to a man. They always say a way to a man's heart is to his stomach. Hell no. The way to a man is through his soul. That's the only way you're going to connect with anybody for real. You have to go past the physical. You have to connect to the soul. That's how you get to the sisters, and that's how you get to the gods. Through the soul. That's how you connect. So these people are in hybrid relationships. I don't spoke about that in past videos. Fake relationships where they are connected by way of habits. You only telling me what one of your 7 deadly sins or your perverted senses is attached to, or in submission to, should I say. Your senses are in submission to these 7 deadly sins, and that's all that you're describing. They grow up to be people like that because when they was young, their parents never showed them nothing. They just told them obey. So they go through whole life just obeying, asking no questions. They ask no questions. Well, wow, well, where Jesus came from, where the Bible came from, where I came from, where earth came from, where all this stuff came from. You know what I'm saying? Well, where the hell this church came from? Who built this church? Who are you, pastor? You got a 501c3? What's that? You know, they don't ask no questions. You know what I'm saying? As I stated before, curiosity didn't kill the cat. Curiosity expanded the cat's consciousness. Because when you're curious, you ask questions. But that's a subliminal tactic that they use, telling you that curiosity killed the cat. Basically telling people, man, don't ask no questions. Just go with the flow. You know what I mean? Just go with the flow. The hell is that? Gods don't go with no damn flow. Creatures who are programmed go with the flow. You know what I mean? So these parents, they already pre-programmed their kids. That's because they have been pre-programmed by their parents, and so on and so on and so on. They have been passing this damn spell down, this program down for so many damn generations, so many waves of souls. Repeating the same damn cycle, man. Operating under the illusion that they are somehow raising their kids when all you're doing is just programming them to be obedient, meaning a good servant. As I stated before, when you listen, you analyze. Tell me who's analyzing anything in religion? Who's analyzing anything when they up in McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken? Who's analyzing anything when they up in White Castle? Who's analyzing anything when they smoke? Why you think they smoking cigarettes? I'm pretty sure a bunch of these little kids ask their mother and father, "Mommy, why you smoke cigarettes? Daddy, why you smoke cigarettes?" Because I want to. That's the answer they give them, son. They don't break it down and say, well, you know, I really smoke cigarettes because I'm mentally weak. I don't really have what it takes to kick the habit because I'm weak. You tell them that, then they will see it for what it is. They won't look at it, well, you know, yeah, my mom smokes, so I smoke. My pops drink, so I drink. Programming them, man, to not be able to identify the obvious. Beast vision. You know what I mean? They're not doing it because they want to do it. They do it because they don't really understand why they're doing it. And they doing it because they weak. Because they lack the training course. You know what I mean? Straight up. Pretty sure there's a bunch of kids out there, you know what I'm saying? Like I saw a video a while ago when they had this little girl. She asked her mother why she wear a wig. And she screamed on her, told her to get out the bathroom. Come on, son. Come on. Why don't you tell your kid the truth? Well, I really got this wig on my head because I prefer the image of the beast. I hate my image. You know? You tell a kid that, then they're gonna be able to identify why a majority of these sisters out here got wigs on their head. They're not gonna look at it as if it's a new pair of sneakers, some fashion statement, like how they try to pass it off, like a new belt buckle that everybody just got to have around their waist. They ain't gonna be looking at it from the illusion, you know, from obeying. They gonna look at it from somebody who listened. Damn, I'm surrounded by a whole bunch of weak people, man. No wonder the God race ain't got nothing. Look how weak the women is. They don't even embrace their own image. They embrace the image of the humans. They put the image of the humans on top their crown. You put a moon on top of your damn sun. You got a solar crown around your head, and you put a moon on top of that when you put that wig on it. Blocking out your light, as I stated before, when you see Jesus on the cross, that is a solar eclipse, man. When you got the damn moon blocking the sun. That's what you're doing when you're putting that wig on your head. You know what I mean? But these parents, they train their kids to be a version of them. They train their kids to be just like them. You ain't supposed to say, be better than me. You're supposed to reflect greatness. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be great. So they could, you know what I'm saying, basically get a template on where they need to pick up the damn torch. Because saying ain't doing the damn thing, son. Facts. Word up. So these kids out here running all wild, son. You know what I mean? The parents is hella responsible for it, man. You see them joining gangs, shooting, robbing banks and all that stuff, smoking a whole bunch of bud. You know what I mean? You got some of these parents that smoke bud in the house with their kids. Well, I'd rather my kids smoke in my house with me than go outside and smoke somewhere else. How about you rather your kids not smoke at all? What kind of crap is that? Training them to be a bum like you. Bums in training. Mommy, why you smoke weed? Because I want to. Or because I'm stressed. Why you stressed, mommy? I don't know life. Why life stressing you? You ask too much questions. Sit down and shut up. Training them. Training them to be a believer, man. When the parents tell their kids to sit down and shut up and stop asking questions, you are training them to obey, to be a believer, to be brain dead. They are in the stage of asking so many questions because they are showing you how your mind's supposed to be freaking working. Because their kids is the future. So if they asking you all these questions, they showing you how your mind's supposed to work. How you supposed to work. You're supposed to be asking all questions. It's never supposed to be a moment in time in your life when you just say, man, you know what, man, I'm going to stop just asking questions, man. I got it all down packed now. I know it all. Hell no. You're always supposed to be asking questions, but they tame the energy, program them to obey, you know, to be a perfect servant of the Matrix. To be a character of the Matrix. Word up. Dad, why you out here on the corner? You mind your business. Get your ass in the house. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna say, well, son, you know, I'm out here because, you know, I'm out here selling drugs because I'm helping the beast. I'm helping the beast, you know what I'm saying, kill my people. You know, I'm sacrificing my people by way of selling this coke, this crack. You know what I mean? This hash, this lace weed, because I don't have a connection with them. I'm connected more to the beast. That's why I'm out here selling this poison, killing the members in my community. That's why I'm out here, son. You know, you tell your son that, he will see it for what it is. Now he's analyzing what you're saying. So every time he sees somebody standing on the corner, he's going to know exactly what they about. They ain't about life. They about death. They about sacrificing members of the village just so they could get some money so they could buy products that the beast created. How stupid is that? At least if you're going to sacrifice, make it be for the greater good for the whole damn village. You sacrificing to stimulate one of your 7 deadly sins. Greed, lust, jealousy, envy, hate. You know what I mean? You're stimulating one of your 7 deadly sins, your 7 deadly senses. All your senses has been perverted to embrace death. Mommy, why you cooking them chitlins? Because it tastes good. It smell foul, mommy. Boy, go in the living room. Hit her with the truth. She want the truth to get up out of there. You eating chitlins because it tastes good. Never mind that it came out of the most dirtiest animal on the planet. And it has feces literally inside of it that you're going to cook and consume. But because it tastes good, you know, 7 deadly sins. Your taste is perverted. You now eat foods for a taste. You don't eat it for a mineral content. So therefore, anything that you put in your mouth is perverted. Therefore, anything that comes out of your mouth is going to be perverted. Because when you eating food, you got to know that is codes that you're consuming that would assist your conversation. The foods are a conversation. You're looking at a conversation happening when you're looking at certain foods, organic, real organic foods. So if you consume light, condensed light, you know, the organic foods, sunlight, you're going to regurgitate light. You know what I mean? Remember people back in the days used to tell me that I used to talk a lot of ish. I'd be like, yo, I don't talk ish because I don't eat crap. I said I speak light because that's what I consume. They couldn't understand that. You know what I mean? I speak light, man. Facts. But the kids out here, man, yo, man, the parents, man, the parents. The parents. Effing up their chances of ascending. Violating their chances to ascend. From the TV to the music. Oh, man, the music, boy. Woo-wee. Man, that's a whole nother dimension, son. That's a whole nother dimension right there, boy. Man, listen. They taming the frequency of death with the rap music, son. They taming that energy, son. They finding, you know what I'm saying, they got a whole bunch of bodies that the vessel just gonna be all up, that the energy gonna be all up in. That's my quick little video, man. I ain't trying to make this video long, son. Just want to break down, you know what I'm saying, 7 deadly sins. I'm up out of here.